First of all, I'd like to say good morning and welcome to the first Region 6 Transportation Climate Summit put on by the Southern Plains Transportation Center and the South Central Climate Science Center. My name is Jerry Miller. I'm the Associate Director of the SPTC, and I'm also the Associate Director of the School of Civil Engineering and Environmental Science. And it is my great honor to serve as the Master of Ceremonies today. So we are very excited about this event and the wonderful speakers that we have lined up to talk to us about climate change, extreme weather, and the impacts on transportation systems. This theme is at the heart of our center, and we believe it is one of our great strengths in light of the outstanding legacy of weather and transportation research at the University of Oklahoma and at our partner institutions. When we conceived of the idea of having this regional climate summit, a primary goal was to bring together transportation professionals, planners, engineers, and researchers with climate and weather experts in hopes of educating one another, spurring new ideas for research, and promoting collaborations. So I'm pleased to say that we have indeed attracted a broad range of persons with various backgrounds. For example, among our attendees, if they show up, and I presume they will, in no particular order are numerous people from the Oklahoma Department of Transportation, engineers and other personnel from the private consulting sector, students and professors of various backgrounds, including but not limited to math, meteorology, civil engineering, electrical engineering, landscape architecture, and others. We have several folks representing the Chickasaw Nation, members of the U.S. Geological Survey, Oklahoma Center for Advancement of Science and Technology, and the Oklahoma Climate Survey. We have several members in attendance from our SPTC partners here in Oklahoma and surrounding states, as well as several climate and weather folks from our partner, the South Central Climate Science Center, and other centers such as the Advanced Radar Research Center here at OU. Please forgive me if I failed to mention your particular group, but I just wanted to give you an idea of the broad backgrounds we have represented here. We are grateful to each and every one of you for attending this conference or this seminar and helping to make our first summit a success. We hope you find the program interesting and enlightening. We further hope that our networking breaks and our outstanding venue will stimulate some interesting conversations. Before moving on, I would like to say a few thank yous. First and foremost, Sonia Brindle, our SPTC program coordinator, has done an outstanding job handling the logistics and planning details, and I am very grateful for her extraordinary efforts. And of course, thanks to the rest of our local SPTC group, including Colleen Wilhelm and our director, Mushraf Zaman, and our consortium partners from other institutions who have played an important role in guiding the planning process. We are grateful to our partners in the South Central Climate Science Center, in particular, Dr. Renee McPherson and Aparna Bomzai for their invaluable support, guidance, and assistance. Thanks to Mona Springfield and the National Weather Center for providing the venue and assistance with planning. We are especially grateful to our speakers for coming to be part of the inaugural event for our center. Finally, department, college, and vice presidents level and beyond who are forward-thinking and extremely supportive. We are very grateful for them. So at this point, I would like to introduce our University of Oklahoma Vice President for Research, Dr. Calvin Drogemeyer, who will say a few words, and then I'll invite Dr. Tom Landers, Dean of the College of Engineering, and Dr. Dave Parsons, Director of the School of Meteorology, to also say a few words. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Jerry, and I'd like to add my welcome. As he said, my name is Kelvin Drogmar. I'm the Vice President for Research. This event is of particular interest to me because I'm a meteorology professor. I've been here for 30 years and saw the National Weather Center grow out of a flat piece of ground down here in the south part of campus from a program that, when I came here, was about 30 graduate students, about 60 undergraduate students, and about a dozen faculty to a very, very large enterprise here. And we take a special amount of pride and joy in welcoming all of you here because I think one of the really exciting things about what you're doing is it's bringing together multiple areas of research to tackle some really, really challenging problems. So first thing I'd like to say is that when you have two major regional centers coming together to focus their energies on a common problem, that's very, very powerful, and it's also very necessary. So to me, that's extremely exciting that you can have these groups come together. And I'm especially interested in this because about 6 weeks ago, I hosted a meeting of all the vice presidents and vice chancellors from research from the entire central southern plains, all the way from Iowa and the Dakotas, all the way down to the Gulf Coast. And it encompasses all of the universities and states that you're a part of here. And part of the purpose of that conversation was to sit down and talk about the challenges that are of regional significance to our region of the country and how our universities could work together. And one of the major things that came forward was climate, sustainability, water, energy, and transportation. Those were some of the major themes. So we looked at what the state's priorities are, what our institutional priorities are, and how can we work together at the institutional level. So I want you to know that there are a lot of folks standing behind what you're doing across the whole region and all your partner states and partner institutions, very excited about this kind of thing, but also willing to do what we can to help support it. So never get the feeling that you're on your own. You're very much a part of this big regional family, and challenges like the Ogallala Aquifer and things like sustainability, agricultural practices, all of those kinds of things, as well as extreme weather, are very, very important. Another point I'd like to make is that this coming May, 18th to the 20th, in fact, we're going to be hosting here a national workshop on engaging the social behavioral sciences in extreme weather. And, we've talked about this sort of thing for a long time. I know your centers both have a lot of engagements in these areas. Very, very important. At the end of the day, tornadoes, climate change, accidents on the highway, transportation broadly defined, it's a people issue at the end of the day. Technology alone can take us part of the way, but it can't solve the problem. In 1953, 519 people died in tornadoes when we had no national weather prediction models, we had no national radar network, telephones were wired into the wall, and TVs were black and white and this big, and 1 in 3 households had them. That was 1953. In 2011, 550 people died in this country in tornadoes. And certainly the population has grown and stuff, but at the end of the day, we have all this tremendous technology, but people are still dying. Hundreds of people are still dying. Hundreds of people are dying on highways every year. We have to understand the human dimension, the behavioral science dimension of these kinds of things. So I want you to know that this is an area that we're very serious about here at the university, and I hope that that will help, bring in those dimensions to the kinds of work that you're doing in regional transportation and also in climate change, sustainability, and extreme weather. Final point I'd make is that we had a very interesting visit here last Friday by people from Federal Express in Memphis. And of course, as you know, you know what Federal Express does. And it's very interesting when you look at their operational system of aircraft and ground transportation vehicles and how many gazillions of these things they have. That's actually an exaggeration. They don't have quite that many, but they have, many thousands, tens of thousands of vehicles and things like that. And their decision processes are not nearly as well informed and logical as you might think. A lot of it's seat-of-the-pants decision making. And so we talked a lot about how we could be helpful, we not meaning just the university here, but our extended family, the Southern Plains Transportation Center, the Climate Science Center, other activities we have going, how we can work with companies like them, not just them, but other companies, to look at their business models, to look at how we could apply research directly into their operations. And so that's something that, reaching out to private companies and helping translate our research outcomes into operational practices and services is very, very important. And companies like that are hungry for solutions. And working with universities oftentimes is difficult. So one of the things that we did was we highlighted SPTC, we highlighted the Climate Science Center, we highlighted these various activities and said, you can come and join this tremendous conglomeration of sort of a center of centers, these regional efforts, to really come in and tap into the most capable people in this country. to solve some of your problems. So I want you to know that. I want to make sure that you all are in that conversation and aware of it. And frankly, in my view, that's just the beginning of this kind of thing. And I know your own universities are doing that. And the connective tissue we now have to your institutions through my counterparts there, because of the meeting we had here 6 weeks ago, is only going to strengthen that conversation and help move it down the field. So I really am excited very much about this as a meteorologist, because I know really great things are going to come from this. And I want you to know that we here at OU stand ready to help you however we can. We welcome you. I hope that you get a chance to see our campus. I can't give you a forecast because I haven't watched the Weather Channel today, but I hear it might rain tomorrow, so you might be just a little careful. Maybe want to get out and see the campus today. That's not an official forecast. I'm usually wrong, as everyone will tell you. So anyway, I wake up in the morning, and this is a great way to start your day. I'm going to be wrong today. I just don't know how wrong I'm going to be. It's really not a great way to start the day. So anyway, I'm going to be quiet here and let you go on to the rest of your meeting. But again, welcome. Thanks so much for coming, and we stand ready to help however we can. Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you, Kelvin. Dr. Landers, would you mind saying a few words?
Well, my colleague Dave Parsons and I certainly know what it means by experience to be speaking after Kelvin Drogemeyer. Some of you think KD is someone else. We think KD is Kelvin Drogemeyer. But fortunately, my task is simple, and that is to welcome you, particularly on the behalf of the College of Engineering at the University of Oklahoma. But I'd also like to add, on behalf of my boss, Provost Kyle Harper, his very strong support for these centers and for this program, and really for the colleges that are most actively involved in it. I've looked at the program. You have a great lineup of speakers on very important topics. I think this is emblematic of our university and these centers for their leadership, our leadership in the Mid-America region and nationally. And I think you'll also learn, if you don't already, that these centers have international partners as well. Special thanks to Musharraf Zaman and Renee McPherson for their leadership and for their staff's hard work to make this a success. And I note that there could not be a better setting for this program than this, the National Weather Center, located on a state highway segment of Highway 9 that's designated the Oklahoma Technology Corridor. So with that setting in mind and the program that you have laid out, I wish you the very best for the day's program. And thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Dr. Dave Parsons from the School of Meteorology.
Thank you. I've learned something. I didn't know that about the technology corridor, so I've only been here about 4 years. I probably should know that. Let me add my welcome to the National Weather Center on behalf of Barry and Moore, who's the Dean of the College of Atmospheric and Geographic Sciences. He's also director of the Weather Center here and also vice president of the University for Weather and Climate. I came here from the UN system. I was actually on a long-term leave from my job at the National Center for Atmospheric Research, and I never thought I would leave Boulder when I was done with the UN. And I just spent a few hours in the National Weather Center, and I texted my wife back in Switzerland, I think I want this job. I won't say what she texted back, but I will say a few words about the National Weather Center. It's a really unique place. It's set up a bit like a teaching hospital. You have operational practice, the NOAA's National Storm Prediction Center doing fire weather forecasts, severe weather watches, and leading to warnings for the whole country. You have the Oklahoma Climate Survey, a state agency, the Weather Training and Decision Branch, of NOAA that does the training for the Weather Service, and then you move further from operational practice into the National Severe Storms Lab, which is the research arm, I like to think of it, of the Storm Prediction Center, the cooperative centers, the research centers, and then I'm on the academic end with the School of Meteorology. In some ways, I like to think of the school not only as the educational part, but actually we're the part that I think reaches sometimes beyond the national and state and local problems to global problems. So there's 3 of us that are, of the 25 faculty members, for instance, that are funded for polar meteorology. You have people working on problems in Africa and all around the world, and also on the global prediction system. The Weather Center is surrounded by the partner places, as you saw when you drove in. The Climate Science Center is part of that. And together it's nearly 1,000 people working on weather and climate issues in this country, which I think is really impressive. Let me just move to say a few words about transportation and weather and climate. I think the big disasters, Superstorm Sandy, the tornado outbreaks in Joplin and Alabama, the Hurricane Katrina, really are the things that make the headlines, and they're influenced both by weather variations, by climate variations and climate change, but more importantly by changing demographics, exponential population growth, growth in urban corridors, growth along the coastal regions, and this is really set on a backdrop of an exponential growth of the population around the world. So you really have quite a challenge. And while these disasters are really in the news, I wanted to just say throw out a few numbers. There was a study by Jeff Lazo in 2009 that said 3.4% of the gross domestic product of the U.S. is influenced by weather variations. And this is primarily in the simple day-to-day variations that people in transportation would care about, but maybe somebody, a disaster manager, wouldn't. And that comes to $600 billion using the first quarter corrected numbers of 2014. That's a really large number. And also, if you just look at the transportation, there was a study by Pisano in 2008 that 1.5 million weather-related traffic accidents occur annually in the U.S., injuring over 673,000 people and causing nearly 7,400 fatalities. So you have, I think, an important problem. The accurate predictions are really the foundation of doing anything. I'm happy to say in the weather enterprise, the predictive skill has been gaining about a day per decade in our global models. So the 5-day forecast now is like the 4-day forecast of a decade ago. And within the U.S., partly due to the efforts of people in the National Weather Center and the improvements in global prediction, we've gained about 3 days per decade over the last decade due to the Thorpex project, for people that know that side of the weather business. So predictions are improving as you get out to climate scales. It gets harder and harder to do projections, and clearly something like transportation has an interdisciplinary approach that's really necessary. So I think you have a challenging problem. It's part of an important problem in society, not just the weather extremes, but how the day-to-day transportation variations impact people's lives. And there's been some studies that it's sometimes not the biggest snowstorms that cause the most fatalities and injuries, but sometimes that first event of the season that was maybe not emphasized so much because it was a little bit small one. So the social science side, how people react to prediction, the engineering side, all need to come together. So I wish you luck. Unfortunately, I teach Thursday morning, so I'm going to run out as soon as I'm done. But welcome on behalf of Barry and Moore and on behalf of the School of Meteorology. Thank you.